And Woody likes the crooked cock.
Starting diet was fucking wild, dude. You were eating like girl calories. I was shocked.
Yeah. That ties into something I've cultivated questions and stuff from my Twitter to ask you guys. This whole concept of eating more to raise his metabolism before he cuts is a trust fall I've never been willing to take. Like if I somehow eat more, that is long term the key to cutting fat. It sounds like bullshit. So like I want to touch on that, and then vertical diet. I've watched a couple hours worth of vertical diet videos. I still don't know what it means. No one has been able to keep my attention span, which is a challenge, throughout a vertical diet explanation. Can we talk about the increase in calories and the diet?
Yeah.
Can I touch on it a little bit first? Because sure. What was interesting to me was like I had that raw data as well by going to the DEXA scan place and getting an RMR right away. So I immediately got my resting metabolic rate. So they put this oxygen mask on you and they measure exactly how much oxygen you're intaking and how much CO2 you're expelling for several minutes. And you sort of sit very still in a dark room, maybe 5-10 minutes. It's a long time. And they're able to like precisely, more or less, as closely as you're going to ever get, gauge your metabolism. And because I had like been doing that crazy crash diet that he referred to, the girl calories, that's literally what he's like, my girlfriend eats more than you, bro. Like this ain't going to work. My RMR was 2,100 calories a day. And I'm walking at that point, I'm like 220 or something like that, 6'2". And it's like, the fuck, how are you ever going to like lose any weight or gain any muscle? Like at maintenance calories at 2,100 calories, you just can't. Like you either starve yourself. There was no getting around it. We had to like boost the metabolism, and I'll let Derek jump in like right after this point. But a month of the vertical diet, the L-carnitine, the TRT, all the supplements, and like a steady like workout regimen, and we were up to 2,900 calories a day maintenance.
Yeah. So like in general, the low calorie thing, when you start out, it's not like he had the infrastructure to really cut off of to begin with. Like I'm sure you've heard of like skinny fat physique before. So if you're like relatively untrained and you try and go balls deep into a cut, you're just maybe you end up leaner, but you strip off so much. Well, you have no muscle to begin with to really support, like have an infrastructure to even show what you're working with to begin with. So when you end up lean, it doesn't really look impressive anyways. And above and beyond that, maybe not entirely significant, but the more you build lean tissue on, the more energy you expend at rest, just like sitting here doing nothing. So a lot of that was factored in with like achieving the look he wanted. He obviously had to pack on some muscle and actually get in the gym and do something. It's not just about, cutting your calories, because if that was the case, we would all just like sit on our ass and just like starve ourselves and take Adderall. Like it doesn't work like that. So
what is the vertical diet? It sounds like a way to arrange your food on the plate.
I thought it was for mountain climbers. Like I thought it was when I first heard about the vertical diet, I'm like, that's probably for like, people who go high up and they need more oxygen.
I was like, do I put the potato on top of the chicken?
Look how much food it looks like I can eat.
Vertical diet is not descriptive at all.
So basically it's like a methodology for approaching diet that was designed by Stan Efferding. He's like the world's strongest IFBB pro, or at least he was up in, I don't know if anyone's exceeded his, powerlifting totals and whatnot while concurrently being an IFBB pro bodybuilder, which is like, a professional bodybuilder for anyone who doesn't know what the IFBB is. But anyways, he is a bit more intelligent than the average, meathead bodybuilder. And he has, sort of integrated meathead meets like actual science and designed a diet that hits not just macronutrient needs, because everyone knows macros like protein, fats, carbs. Most influencers who are in the fitness industry who take steroids and, sell, cookie cutter training programs and shit, they'll just tell you, hit your protein, then fill your calories with whatever the fuck. And as long as you hit your calorie goal, like you're good, and you hit your protein, that's like the optimal way to go about everything. It's like calories in, calories out. You can't argue with science. It obviously makes sense. However, a lot of people don't realize micronutrients are like signaling molecules in your body at the end of the day. So if you don't have enough zinc, if you don't have enough copper, if you don't have enough iodine, like these are all precursors to different physiologic functions in your body that if you're deficient in them, you're going to have piss poor muscle building, piss poor recovery. All these things are going to be suboptimal, and down the line, even though your calorie allotment might be the same, you're not going to build muscle as effectively or burn fat as effectively. And especially when you start depriving yourself of calories, the micronutrient density of your foods becomes so much more critical, because it's like you're literally depriving yourself below what you need to maintain. So your body thinks you're starving. So when you're starving and you're getting less than you need to maintain, you have to make sure in that deprived amount, you're hitting as many of those micronutrient needs as possible. So the vertical diet, a lot of people think it's just like red meat and rice, and that's all it is. When in reality, there's like a lot of random little things in there that hit your micronutrients. So like, you know, a bit of carrots, a bit of, you know, iodine from fill in the blank. Like there's so many different ways to, it's basically just about backfilling micronutrient needs whilst being mindful of sports performance, muscle building, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people just think it's like eat a fucking steak and that's it. And that's just kind of like, I don't know, the selling points of the diet. It seems like it's just based around red meat and the importance of it and stuff, but it's actually, you know, a pretty diverse diet given the constraints of like what is micronutrient dense. And there are tweaks and shit you make accordingly based on your own needs. Like, for example, I don't eat like fully vertical. I'll add in, you know, things here and there based on my needs. And, you know, obviously as you get really deep into a diet, maybe you have to pull out some of the diet hacks and like alternate some of the foods and whatnot. But like the general framework is just like what I built, especially his muscle building part of the diet on when we were adding calories. That's how you like really stroke your metabolism and get everything up and firing how we wanted it. And then implementing these 10-minute walks after the meals too helps with nutrient partitioning, helps with glucose tolerance, helps with all this kind of stuff that ultimately built up his physique to a point where we could still maintain like reasonable body composition, getting up to like 3,500 calorie maintenance essentially from down at 1,200 when he was, not 1,200 isn't his maintenance, but I'm saying he was eating 1,200 to get like shitty results before. I was like, you're not going to build any muscle eating this much food. Let's like ramp up and titrate up to 3,500, get you, you know, build some strength up, build a foundation of muscle. And then once we've like maintained your, I don't know, ability to tolerate that much food, it's going to make the cut way easier too, because your ghrelin and leptin, which is like the things that signal you to be hungry, or you can't, you know, you don't have the willpower to avoid cravings and stuff. Like after you diet for a while, I'm sure you notice your willpower goes down the toilet. That kind of thing, you have to sort of reset, because a lot of these are like chemical signaling things in your body, like ghrelin and leptin sensitivity and whatnot. So we had to sort of like reset that to make sure he could tolerate like an aggressive deficit more easily and have the foundation of muscle to not end up like skinny fat at the end of it. So anyway, built him up to 3,500 on the basis, the foundational principles of the vertical diet. You know, I tweaked and modified the diet a little bit based on his needs and whatnot, and then designed a training split for him. And then kind of once he had built up a decent amount of muscle, I was like, okay, let's start peeling down. And then I started slowly like pulling calories out here and there, mostly from carbohydrates.
I ended on that note. I love the wordplay.
That was the best shit I've ever heard.